The elevator doors slid open with a soft ding, and I stepped into the penthouse office of Graves Enterprises, my heart pounding as it always did when I knew Ethan was waiting. 7 years as his executive assistant had turned me into a shadow, anticipating his every need. But tonight was different. Tonight, I carried a resignation letter in my briefcase, the weight of unspoken love finally too heavy to bear. As I entered the dimly lit room, Ethan turned from the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan, his sharp jawline catching the city lights, and said, "Alex, we need to talk about us." I froze, the letter forgotten for a moment. Ethan Graves, the 38-year-old CEO of one of the largest tech conglomerates in the U.S., had always been an enigma wrapped in tailored suits and boardroom charisma. We'd met when I was fresh out of college, interning at his startup that exploded into a billion-dollar empire. Back then, he was just Ethan, the driven visionary who worked late nights and shared takeout with his team. I was drawn to him instantly, not just his ambition, but the quiet vulnerability he showed only to me. Over the years, our professional bond deepened into something more intimate, though we never labeled it. Stolen glances during meetings, lingering touches when handing over reports, weekends working at his Hamptons estate, where conversations turned personal under starlit skies. But society had its expectations, especially for a man like Ethan. His family, old money from Boston, whispered about heirs and legacies. The board members, conservative investors from Wall Street, eyed him warily, questioning why the eligible bachelor hadn't settled down. I knew the rumors. Whispers in the corridors about his confirmed bachelor status, code for suspicions about his sexuality. Ethan never confirmed or denied, but with me he was open. We'd shared kisses in hidden moments, confessions of desire that made my world spin. Yet he always pulled back, citing the company, the family name, the relentless scrutiny. That night, as rain began to patter against the windows, Ethan poured us whiskey from his private bar. "Alex, you've been my rock," he said, his voice low and earnest. "These 7 years. I couldn't have built this without you." I sat on the leather couch, my hands trembling slightly as I took the glass. "What's this about, Ethan?" I asked, trying to keep my tone steady. He paced, his broad shoulders tense under his shirt. "My father's been pressuring me. The family's estate, the board, they want stability. A wife, kids, the whole package." My stomach dropped. I'd heard the talks, but hearing it from him felt like a punch. "And what do you want?" I pressed, my voice barely above a whisper. He stopped pacing and looked at me, his blue eyes intense. "I want you, Alex. But it's complicated." Complicated, that word had become our mantra. We talked for hours that night, unraveling the threads of our hidden relationship. How it started innocently. Me staying late to help with a pitch, him inviting me for a drink to celebrate a win. Then, the first real moment. A kiss in his office after a grueling merger, both of us exhausted and raw. From there, it escalated. Secret weekends, coded texts, a shared life behind closed doors. But always, the shadow of expectation loomed. As the conversation deepened, Ethan revealed more. His father, a traditional patriarch, had threatened to withhold his inheritance if Ethan didn't straighten out his life. The pun wasn't lost on me, but it stung. Society's gaze was unforgiving. Tabloids speculated, competitors used it as leverage. "I love you," Ethan admitted finally, sitting beside me, his hand on mine. "But can we really fight this forever?" I wanted to say yes, to pull him close and promise we'd face it together. Instead, I thought of my own struggles, coming out in a small Midwestern town, facing rejection from family, building a life in New York where I could be myself. Ethan had given me purpose, but at what cost? The next morning, I didn't hand in my resignation. Instead, we agreed to try harder, to keep our world intact amid the chaos. But cracks were forming. At work, I noticed subtle changes. Ethan distancing himself in meetings, avoiding eye contact. Whispers from colleagues about potential suitors being introduced by his family. One day, during a board presentation, a director joked about Ethan needing a good woman to keep him grounded. The room laughed. I forced a smile, but inside, rage simmered. How could they dismiss what we had? Social conflicts brewed outside too. Pride parades marched through the streets below our office, a reminder of the progress we'd made as a community. Yet, for men like Ethan, powerful, visible, the stakes were higher. Coming out could tank stock prices, alienate partners. I attended events alone, yearning for the day he could join me openly. Friends in the LGBT community questioned my patience. Why hide for him? They'd ask. You're worth more. But love isn't logical. It's a storm you weather. As weeks turned to months, our relationship strained under the pressure. Arguments erupted in hushed tones. Me pushing for authenticity, him pleading for time. One night, after a gala where he danced with heiresses while I stood in the shadows, I confronted him. Am I just your secret? I demanded. He pulled me into an empty room, his kiss desperate. You're everything, he whispered. But words weren't enough anymore. Then came the bombshell. Ethan's sister, Clara, visited from Boston. Over dinner at his apartment, me pretending to be just the assistant. She dropped hints about a family friend, Sophia, a socialite with perfect breeding. Ethan laughed it off, but later, alone, he confessed, they're setting up meetings. It's all politics. My heart ached. Sophia represented everything I couldn't. A traditional future, children, acceptance. The idea gnawed at me. Could love overcome biology's cruel twist? The tension built like a gathering storm over the next few months. Ethan and I navigated our days with careful precision. Our interactions at work polished to professionalism, while nights blurred into passionate reconciliations. But the outside world intruded relentlessly. At a company retreat in Aspen, whispers about Ethan's eligibility grew louder. Colleagues speculated openly. One even asking me point-blank if the boss was playing for our team. I deflected with a joke, but it highlighted the precariousness of our secret. Socially, the conflicts escalated. New York was a haven for diversity, yet Ethan's circle was steeped in old-world conservatism. His family's annual 4th of July gathering in the Hamptons became a battleground. I attended as his assistant, fetching drinks while watching him charm potential allies. There, I met Sophia for the first time, a poised woman in her 30s, with a warm smile and effortless grace. She was everything society deemed ideal. Educated, connected, fertile. Ethan introduced us casually, but her knowing glance suggested she sensed the undercurrents. That weekend, away from prying eyes in his private suite, Ethan and I argued fiercely. Why entertain this? I demanded, pacing the room. Because if I don't, they'll cut me out. He shot back, frustration etching his features. The company isn't just mine. It's a legacy. Legacy, the word hung heavy, a reminder of what I, as a gay man, couldn't provide. We made up under the covers, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Back in the city, work demands intensified. Graves Enterprises was expanding into AI ethics, a field rife with controversy. Ethan spearheaded initiatives for inclusive tech, ironically championing LGBT rights in public speeches while hiding his own truth. I drafted those talks, pouring my soul into words he delivered with conviction. Audiences applauded, but I wondered if he believed them. One evening, after a panel on workplace diversity, a young intern approached me. It's inspiring what Mr. Graves is doing, he said. As a gay man, it gives me hope. I nodded, swallowing the irony. Personal tolls mounted. My friends, a tight-knit group from the village, urged me to leave. 7 years. Alex? That's not loyalty. That's self-sacrifice. My best friend Marcus said over brunch. He was right, but walking away felt impossible. Ethan and I shared dreams. Traveling to places where we could be open, building a life beyond the boardroom. Yet reality intruded. His father's health declined, amplifying the pressure for an heir. The family line ends with me, Ethan confided one night, staring at the ceiling. Unless. The unless led to heated debates. Surrogacy? Adoption? Options existed for same-sex couples, but Ethan's world rejected them. Investors want traditional, he argued. A picture-perfect family. I countered with stories from our community. Successful gay parents thriving despite odds. But fear gripped him, fear of backlash, of losing control. A turning point came during Pride Month. The city buzzed with celebrations, rainbows adorning buildings. I invited Ethan to a discreet event, hoping for a step forward. He hesitated, then agreed. We attended incognito, blending into the crowd. For a few hours, it was magic. Holding hands amid cheers, feeling the pulse of acceptance. But a photographer snapped us, and panic ensued. Ethan bolted, leaving me alone in the throng. The photo leaked online, sparking rumors. Tabloids speculated, CEO Ethan Graves spotted at Pride. Is he out? The board called an emergency meeting. Ethan denied involvement, claiming it was a team-building outing. I sat silently as he distanced himself, my heart shattering. That night, he apologized profusely. I can't risk the company, he said. Not yet, but yet felt like never. Sophia re-entered the picture deliberately. Ethan's family orchestrated dinners, events where she was his plus one. I watched from afar, jealousy festering. One evening, after seeing paparazzi shots of them together, I confronted him. Is this real? I asked, voice breaking. He pulled me close. It's facade, Alex. You know that. But doubt crept in. Was it? As summer faded, conflicts peaked at a corporate gala. Ethan arrived with Sophia on his arm, introducing her as a close friend. Whispers rippled, engagement rumors. I mingled, masking pain with small talk. Later, in a quiet corner, Ethan found me. This is killing me too, he whispered. We slipped away to his limo, where emotions boiled over. Choose, I demanded. Us or them. He hesitated, tears in his eyes. I need time. Time, however, was running out. His father summoned him to Boston for a family council. Ethan returned changed, distant. They've given me an ultimatum, he admitted. Marry Sophia or lose everything. The words hung like a guillotine. We spent the night in silence, bodies entwined but souls adrift. In the following weeks, our relationship fractured. Arguments turned bitter. Me accusing him of cowardice, him defending his choices as necessary. Society's weight crushed us, expectations of heteronormativity, the valorization of biological heirs. Friends shared stories of similar heartbreaks. Partners succumbing to pressure, choosing easy paths. I attended therapy, grappling with self-worth. Was I enough? A controversial twist emerged when Ethan confided in exploring surrogacy secretly. With you, he said hopefully, but his family vetoed it, deeming it unnatural. Debates raged in our circle. Was biology destiny? Could love transcend tradition? The questions mirrored broader societal clashes, fueling my resolve. Yet, as fall approached, Ethan's resolve wavered. Sophia's presence grew, their dates publicized. I saw the shift. His laughter genuine in photos, a spark I once ignited. Jealousy morphed into resignation. Perhaps he needed what she offered, a seamless future. Autumn leaves blanketed Central Park as I jogged alone, trying to outrun the turmoil. 7 years had woven Ethan into my essence, but the threads were unraveling. At work, our interactions grew terse, laced with unspoken accusations. Colleagues noticed the chill, attributing it to stress from a looming IPO. Little did they know the personal war raging beneath. The societal conflicts intensified through external events. A high-profile lawsuit against a tech giant for discriminating against LGBT employees hit the news, mirroring our struggles. Ethan publicly supported the plaintiffs, donating to causes, yet privately he retreated further. Hypocrite, I muttered during one argument. He flinched. I'm trying, Alex. This isn't black and white. Family pressures mounted on both sides. My own parents, reconciled after years of estrangement, visited New York. Over dinner, they sensed my distress. Is it work? Mom asked gently. I confessed fragments. Loving someone unavailable. Dad, ever pragmatic, advised. Love shouldn't require hiding. Their acceptance contrasted sharply with Ethan's world, highlighting the divide. Ethan's father worsened, hospitalized with complications. Ethan flew to Boston weekly, returning exhausted and conflicted. One night he broke down. "He wants to see grandchildren before he goes," he sobbed. "How can I deny that?" I held him, torn between empathy and anger. The desire for legacy clashed with our reality. Gay men navigating a world still debating our right to family. Controversial elements surfaced in conversations with friends. Marcus introduced me to a support group for partners in closeted relationships. Stories poured out. Executives choosing arranged marriages. Athletes hiding for endorsements. One man shared losing his love to societal norms, sparking debates. "Is it betrayal or survival?" he asked. I pondered that, seeing parallels with Ethan. Pivotal moment arrived at Thanksgiving. Ethan's family hosted in their sprawling estate. I wasn't invited, officially, but Ethan snuck me in as staff. Humiliating, yet I went for him. There, amid turkey and tension, his father cornered him. "Sophia's perfect," he rasped. "She can give you what matters." I overheard from the hall, heart pounding. Later, Ethan found me in the guest room. "I can't do this anymore," he whispered, kissing me fiercely. Hope flickered, but reality crashed down. Post-holiday, engagement rumors solidified. Tabloids announced, Ethan Graves to wed socialite Sophia Lang. I confronted him in his office, doors locked. "Is it true?" He nodded, eyes averted. "It's arranged. For the company, the family." Rage surged. "And us?" He reached for me. "We can still." Pulled away. "No, not like this." The fallout was brutal. I took leave, holing up in my apartment, fielding calls from concerned friends. Society's gaze felt oppressive. Headlines praising the power couple, ignoring the hidden pain. LGBT forums buzzed with speculation. Was Ethan bi? Closeted? The community felt betrayed by his public image. In therapy, I unpacked layers: codependency, internalized homophobia. "You've given 7 years," my therapist said. "What about you?" I realized I'd lost myself in his shadow, sacrificing authenticity for love. Ethan reached out desperately. Texts, voicemails pleading for understanding. "This doesn't change how I feel," one said. But it did. He was choosing a path that erased us. A clandestine meeting in a Brooklyn cafe revealed his torment. "Sophia knows," he confessed. "It's a marriage of convenience. She has her own reasons." The revelation stunned. A lavender marriage, controversial in our circles. Some saw it as pragmatic, others deceitful. Debates ensued. "It's lying to everyone," I argued, "including ourselves." He countered, "It's survival in a flawed world." The ethics gnawed. Deceiving family, society for personal gain. But love persisted, complicating everything. As winter set in, I returned to work, professionalism our shield. Tensions simmered during a crisis. A data breach threatening the company. We worked tirelessly, old synergy resurfacing. In the war room, late nights blurred boundaries. One evening, alone, Ethan confessed, "I can't lose you." We kissed, reigniting passion, but morning brought regret. Sophia's involvement grew. She visited the office, planning wedding details. Jealousy peaked when I overheard her discussing children. "I want a big family," she said brightly. Ethan smiled faintly, but his eyes met mine across the room. Apologetic, longing. The climax built at a holiday party. Amid twinkling lights and champagne, Ethan announced the engagement officially. Cheers erupted. I slipped out, tears stinging. Outside, in the snow, he followed. "Alex, please." We argued passionately. Love versus duty, authenticity versus legacy. "You deserve better," he said. "But I can't give it." I resigned that night, letter on his desk. The decision liberated yet devastated. Friends rallied, offering support. Marcus said, "Time to live openly." I agreed, but grief lingered. Post-resignation, the world shifted. I moved to a smaller firm in Brooklyn, focusing on inclusive tech startups. The change was refreshing. Open colleagues, no secrets. But Ethan haunted my thoughts. Texts arrived sporadically. Miss you. I ignored most. Healing required distance. Society's conflicts played out publicly. Ethan's wedding announcements flooded media, praised as a union of dynasties. LGBT outlets critiqued. Another closeted mogul sells out. Protests outside Graves Enterprises demanded transparency. Ethan issued statements on diversity, but they rang hollow. Personal reckonings deepened. I dated casually, exploring life without shadows. One suitor, an outspoken activist, challenged my past. Why stay so long? He asked. Love, I replied simply. But reflections revealed codependency. I'd enabled his hiding, compromising my values. Ethan's wedding approached, invitations sent to elite circles. I received one, and signed, perhaps an olive branch. I declined, but curiosity drew me to the venue's periphery on the day. From afar, I watched guests arrive, Sophia radiant in white. Ethan looked handsome but strained. As vows echoed, pain twisted inside. Was this his choice or coercion? Aftermath brought revelations. Honeymoon photos surfaced, but rumors persisted. Separate bedrooms? Businesslike demeanor. A leaked email from Ethan's father celebrated the heir potential. The controversy ignited debates. Pressure on queer individuals to conform, the ethics of sham marriages. I threw myself into advocacy, volunteering at LGBT centers. Stories mirrored mine. Partners lost to societal norms. One workshop discussed chosen families versus biological. Blood isn't everything, a facilitator said. It resonated, challenging Ethan's worldview. A surprise encounter occurred at a conference. Ethan approached alone. Can we talk? We found a quiet bar. He looked weary. The marriage. It's empty, he admitted. Sophia's great, but not you. Tears welled. I chose wrong. Regret poured out. Family appeased, but soul fractured. The board stabilized, stocks rose, yet happiness eluded. We talked for hours, dissecting choices. Society forced this, he said. No, I countered. You let it. The exchange was raw, exposing flaws. His fear, my patience. Could we try again? He asked tentatively. Temptation surged, but wisdom prevailed. Not like this. Months passed. Ethan's marriage faltered publicly. Tabloids hinted at strains. Sophia filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Scandal erupted. Allegations of the union's falsity. Ethan's father passed soon after, leaving a contested will. In the chaos, Ethan came out, quietly at first, then boldly in an interview. I've lived in shadows too long, he stated. Love is love. The community reacted mixed. Some forgave, others accused opportunism. Stocks dipped initially, but rebounded with progressive support. Ethan reached out again, apologetic. I want to make amends. We met in Central Park, full circle. Emotions swirled. Forgiveness tempting, but scars deep. As we walked, he shared growth, therapy, advocacy. I see now, legacy isn't blood, it's impact. Hope flickered, but caution held. What about us? I asked. He smiled sadly. If you'll have me. Reconciliation tentative, we rebuilt slowly. Dates openly, facing stares but embracing freedom. Society evolved too, more acceptance though battles remained. Friends debated our reunion. Foolish or romantic? Highs and lows followed. Ethan's coming out inspired others, but backlash from conservatives threatened deals. We navigated together, stronger. Adoption discussions arose, creating our family on our terms. Controversies lingered. Was his journey genuine or damage control? Years blended as our relationship solidified, no longer hidden. Ethan stepped down as CEO, focusing on philanthropy for LGBT causes. Graves Enterprises thrived under new leadership, inclusive policies entrenched. We adopted twins, a boy and girl, from foster care, challenging norms, sparking debates on queer parenting. Social conflicts persisted. Media scrutinized, Can two men raise children properly? We faced protests, custody battles from bio-relatives, but prevailed. Our story became a beacon. 7 years of pain yielding triumph. Friends marveled at resilience. Critics decried agenda-pushing. Reflecting, choices defined us. Ethan's initial decision, choosing Sophia, stemmed from fear, but growth redeemed. Mine, staying, leaving, returning, taught self-worth. Love, we learned, demands courage. In quiet moments, we'd reminisce. The office kisses, the heartbreaks. Worth it? He'd ask. Every tear, I'd reply. Yet questions lingered. Society progressed, but inequalities remained. Marriage rights secure, but adoption hurdles. Workplace biases. Our privilege, wealth, status eased paths others couldn't tread. Debates raged. Privilege in queer narratives, authenticity in coming out. As we watched our kids play in the park, contentment settled. But the journey's scars reminded. Love battles society. Logic twists under emotion. Was Ethan's choice to marry Sophia ultimately the catalyst for his true self, or a betrayal that should never be forgiven?